Warm greetings to all our dear listeners. In Buddhism, we often hear the phrase "luk thân duyên bak," which means fading bonds with one's loved ones. This expression refers to people who, in this lifetime, seem to have shallow or distant relationships with their family and friends, those who feel emotionally disconnected or lack a deep sense of belonging. According to Buddhist teachings, those who have fading family ties are often souls reaching the final stages of their reincarnation cycle. They carry great spiritual blessings, but heaven allows them to be born into families that are not fully harmonious or wealthy, because this lifetime is not meant for comfort, but for awakening. Within their families, between parents, children, or spouses, there will often be someone who brings them immense trials and suffering. Through these challenges, they are forced to awaken, to grow, and to completely transform their understanding of life. These people are destined to experience certain hardships until they learn to let go, see through the illusions of the world, and ultimately attain enlightenment. But who are these people, truly? Why do they seem so detached from the world around them? And more importantly, why does Buddhist wisdom believe that they might be living their final human lifetime? In Buddhism, the term six relatives refers to our closest blood ties, our parents, siblings, children, and spouse. Those with weak family connections often share a few distinct traits. They are not deeply loved, not well supported, and not truly understood by those around them. Some are neglected by their families, forgotten among many siblings, or overshadowed by parental favoritism. Others may grow up feeling invisible, misunderstood, or even unwanted. At times, even neighbors and peers seem distant, and such people often have few true friends. In love and marriage, they encounter many obstacles: betrayal, heartbreak, or separation. They may go through multiple painful relationships before finally meeting someone who can truly stay. In their careers, they may face jealousy, isolation, or betrayal from coworkers. Their hard work is often overlooked by their superiors. They must put in many times more effort than others just to be recognized, yet every step forward seems heavy and difficult. Because of this, they often feel lonely, disconnected, and out of place in the world. They may wonder, why am I so unlucky? Why is life so unfair to me? Even though they have done nothing wrong, they still must endure repeated tests of life. However, in the eyes of Buddhism, deep or shallow connections are not as simple as they appear. A bond that feels deep is not necessarily a good one, and a fleeting encounter is not always meaningless. Every connection has its own beginning and ending, its cause and completion. Many believe that weak family ties are unfortunate because they bring loneliness and emotional distance. Such people may lack parental love, an ideal marriage, or an easy life. But if we look from another angle, this can actually be a sign of karmic cleansing, a sacred process where they are repaying old karmic debts from past lives. In previous incarnations, they may have created too many karmic obligations, and so in this lifetime, they must repay those debts through solitude, struggle, and emotional pain. When they have finally learned all their lessons, when the debts are fully repaid, they will be freed from the wheel of samsara, no longer bound by cause and effect. At that point, true happiness will arise, one that no person or circumstance can ever take away. Buddhism teaches us about reincarnation and karmic retribution. All sentient beings continually reincarnate, life after life, to repay their karmic debts and complete unfinished lessons. Those with fading family ties are often souls who have endured countless lifetimes and are now nearing liberation. To truly understand this, we must look deeply into the law of cause and effect, the universal principle that every action leads to a corresponding result. Good deeds bring blessings. Unwholesome deeds bring suffering. Everything we experience in this lifetime is shaped by the choices we made in previous ones, and what we do now will determine our future existence. So if you ever feel alone, unloved, or disconnected from your family, remember, this may not be a punishment, but a final chapter of your soul's long journey. Embrace your lessons with compassion and patience, because beyond this path of solitude lies the ultimate freedom, the awakening of a soul that no longer needs to return. Everything we do in this life will shape our next one. If, in the past, a person has made many mistakes, then in this lifetime, they must face trials and suffering as part of their karmic repayment. But when they awaken, when they truly recognize their wrongdoings and begin to change, they gradually pay off the debts of their karma, one by one. For those who are said to have fading bonds with family, it may be because in their past lives, they have experienced too much separation, too much loss, and too much heartbreak. Perhaps they have hurt others, Or perhaps they were the ones who were deeply hurt. And now, in this lifetime, they are simply walking through the final chapter of that long journey. The challenges that arise from family or friends may bring them sorrow, but those very experiences teach them forgiveness, letting go, and self-mastery. In this life, their relationships with loved ones may seem faint or distant, but that could be because they have already repaid most of their karmic debts. They are no longer tightly bound by emotional attachments. Such individuals are often believed to be living their final lifetime on Earth. They face life with calmness and serenity. To them, everything passes like clouds drifting through the sky. They have already seen the full spectrum of human experience, reunion and separation, joy and sorrow, and so they no longer cling to worldly struggles. For them, life has moved to a higher meaning, one that transcends material pursuits. They now focus on the journey of inner cultivation and spiritual truth. Yet this does not mean that those with weak family ties are cold or unloving. Quite the opposite, they often possess deep compassion for all beings. They are always willing to help and guide others through difficulties. Their open hearts and gentle wisdom become a source of inspiration and emotional strength for everyone around them. So what are the common traits of people who carry such a destiny? First, they often have a youthful appearance, sometimes even childlike, with an aura of purity and innocence. People naturally feel at ease in their presence, as if they were untouched by the dust of the world, like a freshly blossomed lotus. Second, they tend to show exceptional qualities from a young age. Even as children, they often stand out intelligent, intuitive, or gifted in some unique way. Third, they feel a quiet sense of distance from the world, as if they are an observer rather than a participant. They move through life with calm awareness, seeing clearly what others overlook. And it is precisely because they stand outside the chaos of worldly desire that their minds remain clear and bright. One shining example is King Tran Nhan Tong, the great monarch of Vietnam. Born into royalty, he held supreme power and lived amid luxury and glory. Yet he was never attached to fame or wealth. He saw through the illusion of worldly success. After fulfilling his duty as king, leading his nation to victory against invaders, he renounced the throne, donned a monk's robe, and retreated to Mount Yentur to pursue a life of spiritual practice. He later founded the Truc Lam Zen school, dedicating his life to spreading Buddhist wisdom. His enlightenment became a luminous chapter in the history of Vietnamese Buddhism. Fourth, those with fading familial bonds are perfectionists at heart. They hold themselves and others to high standards. They live with integrity and discipline, always striving to do things in the best and most righteous way. Fifth, they possess high spiritual awareness. Their intuition is strong, and they can easily sense the interconnectedness of all things. When visiting a temple, for example, they may feel the presence of Buddha's radiance, a divine light that others cannot perceive. Such experiences are signs that their souls are awakening, transcending the illusions of the material world. In truth, these individuals are not here to accumulate wealth or fame. They are here to complete their final lessons, to dissolve old karma, to open their hearts fully, and to merge with the infinite wisdom of the universe. Their serenity, kindness, and compassion are the marks of souls nearing the end of their earthly journey, souls that have learned what it means to love, to let go, and to be free. May we all learn from their example, to live gently, to forgive deeply, and to walk this life with a peaceful heart. At a certain stage of spiritual cultivation, we begin to realize that every relationship in our life, with our parents, siblings, spouse, or children, is not random. From the moment we are born, these connections have already been written in the fabric of destiny. Whether a person receives deep love and protection from their family, or experiences loneliness and hardship in relationships, it is all part of a divine arrangement. Those who are born with fading family bonds are, in truth, souls chosen for a higher purpose. They carry within them great blessings and a special mission. Yet, to fulfill that mission, they must walk through the valleys of emotional pain, inner loneliness, and the ups and downs of both love and career. These people often possess pure hearts, honest, upright, and kind. They do not compete or fight for worldly gain. But the world, as we know, is filled with suffering and darkness, which can leave them feeling lost or weary at times. However, it is precisely through these hardships that they grow stronger, more independent, more grounded, and more focused on their own life path. When a person no longer depends too heavily on their family or emotional attachments, they become free to live according to their true nature and soul's purpose. Freedom allows them to pursue their dreams and goals without fear or restraint. This independence brings new opportunities, deeper fulfillment, and a sense of happiness that comes from within. When people realize they have few external supports, they often learn to work harder, live better, and cherish every achievement and moment of peace. Their gratitude and perseverance become the foundation of both personal and spiritual success. People who are less bound by family ties also tend to be more open-minded and compassionate. Because they cannot rely too much on their relatives, they learn how to cooperate and connect with many different kinds of people. This openness allows them to build stronger relationships in society, helping them attract opportunities and resources that others may overlook. Yet, this does not mean that such individuals will automatically live an easy or fortunate life. Each person has their own destiny, challenges, and lessons. Some may still feel lonely or helpless due to a lack of familial warmth. But for those who understand the meaning behind their situation, this very emptiness can become a hidden blessing, opening doors to inner growth and greater success. In other words, people who are lightly bound by family ties are especially suited for the spiritual path of enlightenment. They are not weighed down by too many karmic debts from the past, nor are they bound to future attachments. Their journey carries the energy of a soul awakening, one that refuses to remain lost in the endless dream of worldly desire. The ultimate destination of such a journey is inner freedom, a state where the heart is pure, vast, and at peace. This is a precious form of blessing, a liberation that frees us from dependence on the outer world. When the heart is full within, we no longer need anything from outside. That is the moment we truly free ourselves. A peaceful heart is the heart of the Buddha. It is meditation. It is the way. It is the very source of all life. We must understand that everyone we meet in this lifetime, every relative, every friend, is connected to us by past karma. Family relationships are often filled with karmic bonds and sometimes even karmic entanglements. That is why, at times, we feel inexplicably conflicted or hurt by those who are closest to us. If a person has few emotional attachments in this life, it often means that their karmic debts from past lives are nearly cleared. Their relationships may seem calm, distant, or uneventful like still water. Yet, such peaceful bonds are actually perfect conditions for spiritual cultivation. For there is little love or hate to weigh them down, nothing to slow their steps on the path to awakening. We must remember that human emotion, tin, is the greatest obstacle to enlightenment. Many people become trapped in attachment, only to be deeply hurt by those they love most. Emotions can both warm and imprison the human heart. Only by letting go of attachment can we truly find freedom. When we come into this world, we are but travelers passing through, sowing seeds of karma, creating connections, and learning our lessons. There is no need to cling too tightly to the attitudes or expectations of family. Because, in truth, we owe no one anything, and no one owes us anything either. We simply meet to teach and learn from each other, to love, to let go, and to return to the stillness of our true nature. The final destination of every human life is death. So, within this brief and limited time we have, there's no need to struggle, to fight, or to hurt each other too much. Those who have few attachments to family should learn to love themselves, cherish solitude, accept who they are, and continuously grow from within. Life becomes much more beautiful when we stop depending on others. In this world, the only person who can truly love you completely is yourself. You don't need to rely too much on others. You don't need to chase after understanding or affection from anyone. Life is full of problems, but not every problem can be solved. Sometimes, the only way to move forward is to accept and to let go. To accept loneliness and to find peace in it is, in fact, a form of liberation. There will be moments in life when you feel desperate, when no one stands by your side. Even if you have family, friends, or kindred souls in the end, you still must learn to love and accept yourself. There are lessons, challenges, and long stretches of your journey that you must face alone. Those who have a weak bond with family often encounter more difficulties in life because they lack energetic connection with their loved ones. They may not receive warmth, care, or companionship. They have no one to rely on, no one to fully trust, and thus they easily fall into isolation and despair. But suffering is the very nature of life. Out of 10 parts of a human life, 8 or 9 will rarely go as we wish. No one's life is truly easy. Heaven wants you to become stronger and more complete. That's why it gives you unique lessons meant only for you. There are pains you must bear alone, trials you must face alone, tears you must quietly wipe away, and wounds you must silently endure. Do you know this truth? The fact that you have no one to depend on is actually one of the greatest gifts heaven could ever give you. Because pain extinguishes illusion and awakens your inner strength. It gives you a chance to see your true self, to understand the essence of life. It cuts off all dependence on the outside world and brings you back home to yourself. If you rely on the mountains can collapse. If you depend on people can walk away. Only you can be the savior of your own life. When you stop waiting, stop expecting help from others, and start creating your own path, crossing your own mountains, building your own bridges. That is when you truly begin the journey of the awakened and the strong. Someone once said, "The culture of the strong is the culture of respecting the laws of nature. The culture of the weak is the culture of dependence, relying on the mercy of the strong, hoping for favors, waiting for a savior." A weak mindset creates a weak destiny. As long as you still wait for rescue from the outside world, you will never become strong, never stand firmly in life, never find true freedom. When the time comes, the only thing that can save you is not someone else, not any belief or power, but you yourself. That is the spirit of Tian Xing Zhen. The heaven moves with strength, and the noble man must constantly strive to rise. It is the unshakable faith that says, "I can, I will, I must overcome." And above all, it is your decisive action right now that matters most. So, being born with weak family ties is not necessarily a curse. Sometimes, it is a form of liberation. Life is short, not worth wasting in endless entanglements. Learning to enjoy solitude, to accept and to love your own journey, may actually be a far more open and freeing choice. Only when we are no longer bound by the world outside can we truly become masters of our own lives. In this world, you don't need to care too much about how your family treats you. You don't need to lose yourself just to earn their love or approval. Sometimes, it is within loneliness itself that we find our truest self. Perhaps true freedom is nothing more than letting go of all external attachments so that the soul can finally rest in peace, serene and free. In moments of emotional turmoil, we can often find guidance and inspiration from Buddhist wisdom. The teaching of thin family karma, or having weak emotional ties with one's relatives, reminds us that only by transcending personal attachments and desires can we touch true peace and freedom within our souls. However, it's important to emphasize that having a distant bond with one's family is not an ideal state, nor something anyone would wish for. Family and kinship are among the most basic emotional needs of human beings. They play a vital role in shaping our personal growth. Yet, if life has placed you in such a situation, instead of blaming or resenting it, take it as a rare opportunity to strengthen yourself. Who knows, perhaps this very circumstance will open a new door to a more fortunate and fulfilling life. At the same time, you must learn to build your own social connections. Those with weak family ties cannot rely on help from their relatives. Every meaningful relationship must be created by your own effort. That means you must actively reach out, connect, and find those who can guide and uplift you. If you lack support from your family, it becomes even more essential to depend on yourself, to build your own destiny, and attract the right people into your life. Let's take an example. Before a certain coal miner became wealthy, he had absolutely nothing, not even a pair of shoes. But through sheer persistence, he crossed mountains and climbed steep paths, eventually reaching the home of a man who would later become his benefactor. He waited there for 3 days and 3 nights, drinking water when he was thirsty, eating simple bread when he was hungry, enduring hardship with determination. Finally, his perseverance touched the benefactor's heart, and he received the help that changed his life. This story teaches us something profound. You must be brave and strong. If you have no support from your family, your success should not depend on anyone else. And if you fail, then let it be, because when you start from nothing, what is there to fear losing? Take Emperor Qin Shi Huang as another example. He was born without love from his father and without affection from his mother. Even when he was given power, he was treated merely as a pawn in someone else's game of authority. Everyone around him wanted to control him, to steal power from his hands. It was this very isolation that forced him to grow cold, decisive, and detached. He had to cut off emotional ties, even eliminate those who stood in his way like Lu Buwei. In the end, he became a true emperor, a lonely but powerful ruler. More importantly, After achieving success, one must remain steadfast and protect what has been built. Those who rise without help must never waste their achievements through recklessness or extravagance. If you can maintain stability, build carefully, and grow steadily, you will go farther than most. Of course, we should not judge a person's worth based on whether they receive support from family or not. Each person has their own circumstances and starting point. We cannot use our own standards to measure or criticize others. But if you are someone who has little support from your family, don't let that make you feel lonely or helpless. Instead, believe in your own potential and in the opportunities that life still holds for you. Pursue your dreams. Chase your goals with quiet persistence. At the same time, cherish and maintain whatever family relationships you do have, because no matter how thin those ties may seem, they are still a part of your spiritual foundation, a subtle source of emotional strength in your life. Only when you learn to appreciate and value these bonds can you truly grow in peace and harmony. If, at this very moment, you have no one to rely on, if there is no one to lean upon, if you are drowning in the darkest depths of life and enduring the most painful trials you've ever faced, then I want to say this to you from the bottom of my heart. Congratulations. Because this is the perfect time for your transformation and rebirth. Everything that happens for a reason. Every event, no matter how painful, ultimately serves your growth. Everything unfolds for your benefit. Wherever you are, whatever situation you find yourself in, learn to change your thoughts, to shift your state of mind. Transform your consciousness, and you will transform your destiny. Use your inner strength to shape your outer world. Create an environment that truly nourishes your soul. As soon as you begin to adjust your inner self toward peace and gratitude, you will notice that life itself starts to flow differently. The moment you accept all that is happening, without resistance, with an open and thankful heart, you begin to discover freedom within. Stop seeking happiness from the outside world. Stop waiting for someone to save you. You already have everything you need within yourself. Every single one of us is born a warrior of life. You carry an unshakable strength inside you. All you need to do is return home to your true self. Thank you for listening until the end. If this message has brought you comfort, please leave a like to support this channel. I wish you peace, good health, and a life filled with light and effortless blessings. And if you haven't yet followed, please tap the subscribe button on the right so we can continue this journey together, to grow, to awaken, and to share kindness with the world. May you joyfully spread wisdom and goodness. For such acts bring infinite merit and immeasurable grace.